Mr. Dr. Love. We're all doctors now.
So nitapata wapi majibu ya maswali, mahindi lienda wapi? Pia shilingi ya shule za msingi, Paula mtume, mbona jela usimtume? Lazima abuniwe tume. Lazima abuniwe tume.
Umetry.
Ndizo hali mabasa tulificha.
Inakaa vizuri, tuma zote. Mtumie na upost.
Kazi kwa vijana, pesa kwa wazee. Tulimangamanga mpaka za madeni aise. Lazima abuniwe tume. Lazima abuniwe tume. Oh. Sheria. Oh. Sheria. Sheria. Fuata. Sheria. Sheria. Oh, oh. Sheria. Yeah, yeah. Fuata. Sheria. 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 Oh, oh. Fuata. Sheria.
So YouTube unaonea wapi?
Sheria.
Oh. Producer bana, wakusaidie bana. Pia wewe.
Mwananchi, tabia zako ziko chini, unapenda kulipa hongo na kutumia njia za uongo, una mipango na hata watoto wa kando, haujui hata majina yao. Kura yako uliuza maini figo, ukakulia hadi dini, kisha wasema tukuthamini, na wewe hapo hauaminiki, na wewe hapo haupangiki.
Wapi kidero when you need to slap somebody? Complain ufisadi kwani ulidhani t-shirt 50 bob leso siku ya campaign ilikuwa free? Ni 5 year loan investment utalipa kingia parliament. We are one, amani we are one na utumishi kwa wote, utu missing CCTV we were watching. Racial insecurity na job opportunity ni kama mti ya kibiriti, side moja heavy. Usiniambie Kenya kuna umaskini, kwani hizi fat fingers zinaibia nane? Maskando ina threaten our survival. Media define leadership na sura ukiaka front page na improve readership. Ambia wase wa Twitter wa hashtag ama hash reality doesn't make a good TT. Commission of inquiry wanakula commission bila kutupa ukweli, ni kubaya baka kukiwa kuzuri unashindwa nini mbaya. Machozi ya perpetrator ineza dilute damu ya victim ilimwagika. After all is said and done, all will be said, nothing will be done. You're not my tribe, but you're my blood type. Like it doesn't have to take tragedy to know that.
Sheria.
And of course, a very good evening. Karibuni sana sana. Oh my God. Welcome back. This is Sheria Dive right here on Power Radio. And my goodness, we've been off air since Maandamano started. You know, like the protests, it's like one of those things where you think, this kitu tunafanya siku moja alafu imeisha hivyo. But my goodness, what a 3 weeks it has been. Were you out there on the streets with us? I was there on the streets tukikulatia gas manze. Tuesday, Thursday. I was there and I must say it's just beautiful to fight for your country. Welcome. I know we're also probably getting some new listeners coming through. You've never probably heard of Power Radio or even Sheria Dive, but this is Power Radio is a station that is dedicated to just talking about issues that are happening in society and issues that affect us as young people. And Sheria Dive is principally a show where we talk about the law. We take the boring law and we just try to make it a little bit interesting so that everyone can understand. Because if anything has happened in the last 3 weeks is we've realized, by the way, unaweza kuomeka hivi na nchi imeuzwa bana. The country has been sold. The country has gone. So today, we're actually going to be looking at Parliament because if you've been online, you know that there's a conflict of interest bill. And the purpose of this bill was to ensure that questions of conflict of interest are dealt with, because that's one of the ways through which Kenya loses a lot of money. Because you can imagine if you're seated in the tendering committee and one of the bidding companies, you're a director there, or it's your sister's company, should you then go ahead and award that tender to that company? So that is what was meant to happen. However, because it's a bill that also affects the counties, it was taken to the Senate. And at the Senate, there were a raft of amendments that were taken in and voted for. And it's caused a furore. There's a war online. Senator Ledamo Lekina is being accused of watering down the provisions of the conflict of interest bill. And he's decided to trade his guns on the EACC, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, saying that these guys, wameshindwa na kazi yao, that's why we must do these things. And the EACC is saying, no, you are actually suggesting amendments that are going to ensure that we don't do what the Act intended for us to do. That's what we're going to be talking about today. But a very big welcome to everyone that's joining us today. Everyone that's joining us for the first time as well. You can just go ahead as well and share that link out there. Karibuni sana sana. My name is WaNjeri, advocate of the High Court. But for now, let's get some music. Let's go.
Power Radio. Power up. Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Pawa Radio. This party don't stop. This party don't stop. This party don't stop. This party don't stop.
Here we go. See, I'm loving what you do to me, so if it's cool, let me know. We can kick it to the VIP because the party don't stop till 3. Meaning you're in the crib all over me. CIBTRIPPER, and we are CAMP to the moolah. We blow this bazooka. It's crazy, baby, how I'm on you like Slim to shit it. Yeah. So let me see your head bob, cause this party don't stop. Cause tonight, you better bring somebody to the club. To the club. Cause tonight, we're calling everybody, so get up. Alright.
This party don't stop. Don't stop. This party don't stop. It goes on and this party don't stop. Don't stop. This party don't stop. It goes on and on.
Let me give your body a job, employ a new technique. Work it, rock it like a cradle in bed. I need a free. Wait a minute, let me clarify. The way you maneuver, I can't deny. So scream from the top of your lungs and maybe I'll pacify ya. Take over, my baby, it ain't over. No fat lady, navigate to the floor, make your way. Dilate, give me more A-OK. It ain't fair, the way you're shaking it and moving it, baby. Make them stare. Step up in the building, everybody and go up. Then it's you better bring somebody to the club. To the club. Cause tonight, we're calling everybody, so get up. Alright.
This party don't stop. Don't stop. This party don't stop. It goes on and this party don't stop. Don't stop. This party don't stop. It goes on and on.
So get your hands up. Get ready to party on the dance floor, jamming till 6 in the morning.
So get your drinks up.
Don't spill on nobody. Hit the bar, get some girls, cause the bottles we poppin'. But I'm a little bit too bubbly, so all the ladies look lovely, but can't tell if they ugly, cause someone get these girls off of me. Meet me by the bar, baby girl, round 3 now, let's go get some shots. Drink up, cause you know the party don't stop.
Cause tonight,
You better bring somebody to the club. To the club.
cause tonight,
We're calling everybody, so get up. Alright.
this party don't stop. Don't stop. This party don't stop. It goes on and this party don't stop. Don't stop. This party don't stop. It goes on and on. Don't stop. It goes on and on. Don't stop. It goes on and on.
It goes on and on and on and on and on, just like the Kenyan spirit. Remember, we are still, we've not come down from our high for the Mandamano, but I just want to give a very big shout out to everyone who came out for the finance bill protests. We know everything that happened, and for all our brothers and sisters who unfortunately had to die while exercising their constitutional rights, we say to them, rest in peace, and we'll fight for a better country to ensure that no one has to die because of exercising their freedom of speech and their freedom to protest as a Kenyan. Now, in 2023, Parliament passed a bill which is known as a Conflict of Interest Bill 2023. And the purpose of this bill was to provide for management and regulation of conflict of interest and for connected purposes. Now, maybe one would wonder, what does conflict of interest, what does that have to do with anything? Now, for people in government, it has always been generally accepted that if you're in government and in a position of authority, then you should not be making decisions that are likely to give you a direct benefit, right? Because then that will create a conflict of interest. It means that you'll not be able to actually do the job that you're being paid to do properly. Because if there's something in it for you, what's going to happen is you're only going to make decisions that benefit you. So the conflict of interest bill was then taken to parliament. But because it's a bill that also touches on county governments in terms of public officials in the county governments, it was then taken to the Senate for the Senate to also discuss it. Now, there's a big war online about this bill. And at the moment, I think you'll see there's a big fight between Senator Ledamo Lekina and the EACC, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. And on the one hand, the EACC accuses Senator Ledamo Lekina, who moved certain amendments for that bill, of mutilating that bill. And the senator on his part says, no, there was no mutilation. We've actually made it better. Now, the purpose of this show is we get here to actually discuss legal issues so that you're not arguing, those ones for Niminak show. No. So, let's look at this bill. The objects of the act really is, number one, to promote objectivity and impartiality in official decision making. Okay? It's also to ensure that the integrity of decision makers is not compromised by private interests. The other object is to enhance public confidence in the delivery of public services while providing a framework for the regulation and management of real, apparent, or potential conflict between public interest and private interest. And finally, it's to provide an institutional framework for the management of conflict of interest. Now, conflict of interest is it's straightforward to think about it. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say you have a company called Delights Limited. And if that company sounds like your company, this is, I'm not trying to associate your company with anything. It's just the first one that came to my mind. So let's say Delight Moons Limited is a company and you're a director in that company. However, you are also the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Energy. A tender is floated by the Ministry of Energy and Delights Limited applies for that tender. Okay? Now, let's say you also have a director in that company who sits in the tendering committee. Should that person consider the application by Delight Moons Limited, knowing that they have an interest in that company? And in any case, because the company is built for profit, if Delight Moons Limited was to get that contract, then they would make money. Should that person sit there and make that decision? So the idea here has been, we need to try and make sure that those in public service are not getting into positions where there's conflict of interest, because we all know that when personal interest comes into contact with public interest, it's often the reality that personal interest wins. So to try and avoid that and to ensure that government actually operates properly, Parliament went and put together this conflict of interest bill. Now, where is the fight? Number one is that the act, the way it came from Parliament was that it would be administered by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission. All right? That's why you'll see that there seems to be a fight between the EACC and the Senator Ledamo Lekina. Now, the background of this bill is that it was aimed at strengthening the fight against corruption and the protection of public resources through effective management of conflict of interest, both at the national and the county level, okay? Now, according to the EACC, the draft that was presented to the Senate, the original draft, it contained progressive provisions on mechanisms for addressing legal bottlenecks that are impeding an effective fight against corruption. And one of those things could even be something like, we're investigating you for issuing tenders to your friends. should you still be sitting in that tender committee ukisema I am innocent until proven guilty, for instance? Or can a decision be taken to say, okay, while this is pending, you need to step aside? So what we're having now is there's a battle of ideas, but we're going to see exactly what is it that the EACC is trying to fight against. Now, according to them, one of the things is that one of the changes that have been made to the bill is that while the bill has prevented public officers from trading with public entities in which they work, okay? So if you work at the Ministry of Energy, you cannot trade with the Ministry of Energy. The Senate has now removed that prohibition, in effect, which means that public officials can now trade with their employers, okay? They can award or influence the award of tenders to themselves, their family members, or anyone associated with them without any sanctions. Now, if you think about that, that's crazy, because it essentially means that the person who sits in that tendering committee, they're actually sitting to make a decision that directly benefits them or does not benefit them. Do we believe that these people have the integrity and the character to say, no, I was not the best applicant, I didn't have the best application, so I'm going to pass this along to the next person? Do you actually expect that to happen? That's one of the wars. Now, the other thing that the EACC is talking about is saying that the Senate has deleted provisions on conflict of interest contained in the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act and in the Leadership and Integrity Act. These are two acts which had certain provisions on conflict of interest. And according to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, the effect of this is that we have now decriminalized conflict of interest as a form of corruption, okay? And we have extinguished the mandate of the EACC to institute any investigations on conflict of interest under the existing laws, except conflict of interest actually supports 80% of corruption cases in the country. According to the EACC, 80% of corruption cases in Kenya are based on a conflict of interest. Now, as we always say on this show, we know law is not the most interesting thing to talk about in the world. So we're going to take a small break and then we come back because we want to explain this in detail, step by step. So number one, the first is that the amendments in the Senate mean that now a person working for government and in a department in the government or a ministry in the government can now trade with their employer. Before, you can't work in transport and get a tender from transport. But now, with the changes introduced by the Senate, that can be done. And number two, the conflict of interest provisions that were contained in other laws, namely the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act and the Leadership and Integrity Act, have also been removed, which means, in essence, we are decriminalizing conflict of interest. Is this the way to go? Now, I know you have questions or you have some feedback on this. You can reach us on the socials at Pawa Radio and at James K. WaNjeri on all socials. And remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, or you can go on YouTube Live on Pawa Radio and you can just put your comment or question in the chat section and you're going to be looking at that. So remember, ask any question or just reach out to us on at Pawa Radio and I'll be here to answer those questions. We have how many more minutes to go? About 35 minutes. So let's make it count.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Pawa Radio.
It's Mikey on this.
There must be something in the air, oh, Lord, I fear. I feel like I'm coming down with fear. Fear. Hey, temperature rising, what am I seeing? I need visine just to see things clearer. It's no long time. It's you that I'm wanting, yeah. Taking over my body, spending 17 days with you in quarantine. Oh, it's no long time, yeah. It's you that I'm wanting. Hey, cause baby, you're so clean. I think I found vaccine. Cause your love remedy, you're my remedy. Your love remedy, you're my remedy. Baby, you're so clean. I think I found vaccine. I think I found vaccine. I think I found vaccine. need a doctor, ring them up. Come inject me with your vaccine. You're the real deal, the others them try out. I ain't keep on and leave them in denial. The only drug I care for, medicine to my pain. Addicted to you, baby, dripping through my veins. Oh, it's no long thing, you I'm wanting. Hey, I'm calling, I'm falling, I'm all in for you. Stop fronting, hey, you I'm wanting. Hey, love me before it's too late. I'm running fever, baby, come and cool it, yeah. Your love remedy, you're my remedy. Your love remedy, you're my remedy, yeah. Your love remedy, you're my remedy. Baby, you're so clean, I think I found vaccine. Your love remedy, you're my remedy, yeah. Baby, you're so clean, I think I found vaccine. I think I found vaccine. Vaccine, I need that. I'm calling, I'm falling for you. Stop fronting. Need that. I'm calling, I'm falling for you. Stop fronting.
There are these phenomenal with vaccine. By the way, nimesikia kama ulidungwa AstraZeneca. That's the reason why people are talking about streets. So I'm just letting you know that's you're fake news, manze. Welcome back. We're talking about the conflict of interest bill that has caused sparks online between Senator Ledamo Lekina, and I've also seen Senator Sifuna is also on the chopping block, being asked, how could you agree to such a bill? 25 senators actually voted yes to this bill. And that's what we're going to be looking at today. Remember, if you have any questions about this bill or you'd like to just give your feedback or your comments, you can do that in the chat section on our YouTube live. Or alternatively, you can reach out to us on the socials at Power Radio. This is Sheria Dive, and we just talk law here. That's what we do. Now, one of the other things the ESCC says has happened is that when you look at the changes that have been made to the bill by the Senate, the ESCC is being removed as the one that administrates the conflict of interest legislation. Now, the ESCC is saying this is contrary to Article 79 of the Constitution. And in essence, what happens is that the Senate has created a situation where the parent ministry, for instance, okay, becomes the one that handles its own investigations, okay? Or the government agency enforcement of the provisions of the conflict of interest bill, including investigations, now that is handed over to public entities and to their accounting officers, okay? Now, the problem here is that this will lead to a scenario where the entities will begin to investigate themselves, which is a conflict in itself. Because you can imagine if the ministry itself has been caught, people have been caught engaging in conflict of interest where they're giving jobs to their relatives, to themselves, to their own companies. You cannot then tell the accountant in that government agency, investigate. That work has to be done by the ESCC. So the ESCC is saying that this bill is actually taking away the role of the ESCC and it's weakening the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission and making it impossible for them to actually do their job. And remember, if you look at Article 79 of the Constitution of Kenya, it grants the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission the mandate and power to ensure that there is compliance with and enforcement of the provisions of Chapter 6 of the Constitution. including the conflict of interest provided for in Article 75 of the Constitution. So, the complaint here is by taking away the enforcement power, you're weakening the EACC, and in effect, you're giving more power to the same person who has broken the law to actually get in and look at their own conduct, investigate their own conduct, and then take the necessary action for that. Now, the other complaint is that progressive provisions have been removed, okay? And these are provisions that are related to the wealth declaration system, because the bill as is was meant to ensure that there was enhanced efficiency and effectiveness in detecting and recovering unexplained wealth, okay? So one example that the EACC is giving is that the Senate has removed the provision allowing unrestricted access to wealth declarations by law enforcement agencies to detect unexplained wealth in favor of the status quo under Part 4 of the Public Officer Ethics Act, okay? The conflict of interest bill was going to expand that and ensure that law enforcement agencies have unrestricted access. I think if you've been in Kenya for long enough, you'll know that we have people who earn a salary of 100,000, but then it's suddenly discovered they have property worth 500 million. And the question becomes, boss, hata kama haukuli a single shilling, there's no way you're getting to 500 million. So how do you explain how you have all these things? And this has been a very effective tool in dealing with those who are corrupt in government, where the investigators come and say, your wealth compared to what you earn, compared to your income, there is a very huge disparity. And we all know that unfortunately people in this country steal to build houses and buy cars. It's just nonsensical. But they've decided taxes are better put to use in building mansions for them. And the EACC is saying, if you restrict our access to your wealth declaration forms, then we are unable to do our job. And remember, the moment you decide to become a public officer, essentially you're saying that I allow myself to come under scrutiny, okay? What is there to fear if you're a public officer and you're declaring your wealth, which is allowed by the law? Why wouldn't you want the EACC to know this is how much I own and this is what I have? So that's the other thing that the EACC is actually really fighting against. And I don't know, maybe there's someone who's listening and you probably work in government. You do business, even maybe pass with government and you're a civil servant or you're a public officer. Do you think that the EACC in this case is trying to get too much? Do you think that there's any harm in allowing government agencies to actually have access to your wealth declaration forms? And remember, this affects everyone. It affects judges, it affects the police, it affects teachers, it affects everyone who is in that space. It affects members of parliament, it affects all those in the executive, okay? Now, the other thing as well that EACC is flagging is that the Senate has deleted nearly all the compliance and enforcement measures, including various proposed offenses. And the effect of that is that the management of the conflict of interest in public institutions will be without any enforcement mechanisms, with compliance depending on a public officer's choice or goodwill. So imagine a situation where, for instance, we say, if you steal 1 million, Bob, okay, it's an offense, and when found guilty, this is a punishment. However, if there are no enforcement mechanisms or there are no enforcement measures, then that means if James has been found to have taken X amount, then returning it or giving it back will be based on my goodwill, okay? It will be my choice to decide, okay, I can give it back. The EACC is saying no, that actually cannot work. When we come back, I'm going to be reading some of what Senator Ledama Olekina says in his defense, because questions have been put to him online, and the beauty of Kenyans nowadays is ni ujibu ama tutakusalimia. Kenyans, people are not joking with these politicians. So for the fear of kusalimiwa, I guess, the senator has responded to some of these concerns, and I'm going to be reading some of those here for you. But for now, let's get some music.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
I believe in all of me, in all of him. I believe
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Wewe ni landlord mwenye dunia, umetuweka hapa tunakuchungia. Wewe ni executive producer, you are, yes you are, you are. Straight out of Africa, it's your boy.
It's Mikey on
Wewe
this.
ni landlord mwenye dunia, umetuweka hapa tunakuchungia. Wewe ni executive producer, you are, yes 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 you are. You are above it all, Papa, above it all, Papa, above it all, Papa, above it all. You are above it all, Papa, above it all, Papa, above it all, Papa, above it all. You are above it all, Papa, above it all, Papa, above it all, Papa, above it all. You are above it all. God over everything. My God is the God over everything. Everything seen, everything not. My God is the God over everything. All of the money and power and fame in the world, he still would remain the king. Muumba wa yote yalipo created it all. So what could I ever bring? Kupa shukrani, to show my appreciation. Mimi ni nani? Who am I to even have this conversation? Thankful that I can give this to you. Sadaka ya sifa, praise that is true. Kinywani moyoni, my mouth and my heart will declare that you are the most high. Wewe ni landlord mwenye dunia, umetuweka hapa tunakuchungia. Wewe ni executive producer, you are, yes you are. Papa, above it all, Papa, above it all, Papa, above it all. You are above it all, Papa, above it all, Papa, above it all, Papa, above it all. You are above it all, Papa, above it all, 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 above it all. Yes, you are, Lord. Bwana wa mabwana. Sikuwa na chorus. Ndugu yangu pizza, umenijenga. Yeye ni top, my God is the God over everything. Yeye ni sonko, yeye ni boss, my God is the God over everything. Astahili sifa leo, kesho milele. Debe ndapiga kutoka kilele, ye atukuke, mimi nipunguke. Na nyenyekea ndio mimi tumbike. Neno liyene, kwani nene, ati ni haya, sioni yene. Niongelele, mimi sijali. No contest, nimekubali. Si tunajua mwenye taji, tunajua the king ni nani. Tunajua the king. Wewe ni landlord mwenye dunia, umetuweka hapa tunakuchungia. Wewe ni executive producer, you are, yes you are. Papa, above it all, Papa, above it all, Papa, above it all. You are above it all, Papa, above it all, Papa, above it all, Papa, above it all. You are above it all.
That's my man Riggy with Above It All. Above It All. And before that was Amani with Tahidi. You know, at the concert yesterday in Uhuru Park, I actually saw, you know, the guys we used to listen to when you were toys, Akina Nameless. Mr. Lenny, guys. Mr. Lenny is still out here. Can you believe it? Oh my God, we need to bring these guys on the show. Watuambia wamekuwa kifanya nini? You've not been singing for like 20 years. So what have you been doing? What have you been up to? I'm so curious. Anyway, now, Mr. Ledama Olekina is not one to go down without a fight. And when these questions were actually brought to his attention, this was his response. This was via X on July 8, 2024. He says, EFCC Kenya are making a big deal on the Senate amendments to the conflict of interest bill because their budget has been cut and they wanted more responsibilities so that they can demand more money from the consolidated fund. Too bad. You cannot repeal existing laws that fight corruption for you to introduce a new bill that burdens WaNjiri. That was the response of Mr. Ledama Olekina. And of course, he also says, how many of you have read the conflict of interest bill? What exactly was amended by the Senate? Which specific clauses? And what was the justification given? Don't believe a corrupt EFCC Kenya. They have failed in their job. All governors are their buddies. And you know why? That was his response. Now, of course, we are keeping our eyes on this because you need to realize that at the moment, the bill has been taken back to the National Assembly, and the National Assembly may either agree with the proposals or reject the proposals. If they agree with the proposals made by the Senate, then the bill passes and the Speaker of the National Assembly shall within 7 days forward the bill to the President for assent. However, if the National Assembly rejects the proposals, then there shall be created a mediation committee consisting of members from both Parliament and the Senate, pursuant to Article 113 of the Constitution. Now, the purpose of the mediation committee is to attempt to develop a version of the bill that both houses will pass. Where the committee agrees on a bill, each house shall vote to approve or reject the bill. If both houses approve the bill, the Speaker of the National Assembly shall within 7 days forward the bill to the President for assent. However, if the mediation committee fails to agree on a version of the bill within 30 days, or if an agreed version is rejected by either house, the bill is defeated. All right? So that's what the parliamentary process looks like. Now, you know, this period of finance bill made me realize some of people are not paying attention in school when we are learning about the parliamentary process. Nilianza kuona kila mtu akona story yake about how does a bill become law, and maybe we need to do a refresher course here. So at the moment, all is not lost. This still has to go back to Parliament, and I don't know whether Parliament are going to agree to the extensive changes that have been made to the law that they had passed, or whether we'll go the way of the committee to just try and the mediation committee to try and bring everyone together and see whether we can get a result. But remember, if either of the houses rejects or the mediation committee fails to agree, then the bill is tossed out. So this is Kenya. That could always be the plan all along. Just have it thrown out and then we'll say it was not because of us. We didn't vote. It just didn't go through. Now, the EFCC says that they have written to the National Assembly advising that unless the changes effected to the bill by the Senate are reversed, the legislation will not only ensure that embezzlement of public funds increases, okay, without any sanctions, but it will also open a floodgate of new corruption scandals in the country while shielding perpetrators from accountability. This is primarily because of the provisions introduced to amend existing laws in a manner that negates their purpose in the fight against corruption. Now, in 1904, something happened in this country, and I always like to finish this show with a little bit of history. Now, Kenya, as we know it, was not a country that existed before the British actually came here. Kenya, the way we know Kenya and the boundaries that are here, there was no country called Kenya. It was just a vast land with different people who lived in it. However, in 1904, we had what we called the Maasai Agreement of 1904, which was a treaty that was signed between the British East Africa Protectorate government and leaders of the Maasai tribe. And this signing was done between 10th and 15th August 1904. Okay? Now, the purpose of this agreement is that the Maasai tribe agreed to cede possession of their pastures in the Central Rift Valley in return for exclusive rights to two territories, a southern reserve in Kajiado and a northern reserve in Laikipia. This agreement was entered into with one Lenana. And if you remember your history, you'll recall that part of the reason why Lenana got into a deal with the British was because he was facing a lot of challenges dealing with his brothers. And at the time, they were also getting a lot of attacks from, based on history, from the Kikuus and Kambas. There was just a lot of that. And he felt, I need some strength. So on 10th of August 1904, the Laibon of the Maasai, Lenana, son of Batian, and chief representative from all Maasai sections within the East Africa Protectorate met with the commissioner of the Protectorate, who was Sir Donald Stewart in Nairobi. Okay? And there, the treaty was signed. Now, this treaty is actually available online. You can get a copy of it. And the interesting thing is this. The treaty was written in English. Lenana actually put a fingerprint. These other guys signed. The British were just some wicked, wicked people. The colonizers, they found a way to just come. They dump a document in front of you and they tell you this is what it says and you sign it. And that actually represented the beginning of colonialism in Kenya, where land was taken away. Now, why is this really relevant? If there's anything we've discovered in the last 3 weeks is that a lot of things are happening in this country and people are only getting to find out about them when it's too late or when it's at the tail end of that process. This is not how the Constitution of Kenya envisioned us being governed in Kenya. The idea is that in Kenya, there would be public participation at every single level of our governance. So, one of the things we're going to be doing in this show is talking about what is actually happening in Parliament. We have no eyes in Parliament. What is happening there in Parliament? What are some of these agreements that government is getting into? And how do they come to affect your life? So next week on Monday, we'll be here and we'll be talking about the agricultural bill. Did you know that there is an attempt in this country to make it illegal and a criminal offense to share seeds with your neighbor? Now, for those of us who grew up mashinani, we know that seeds were freely shared between communities. But this is also coming at the same time when the selling of raw milk has also been made a criminal offense. Do you know that? Those of us who lived in mashinani, you know, if you wanted milk, ulikuwa unapewa kibuyu, you go to the neighbor, they give you milk, you come back. Guys, there are a lot of things that are happening in this country. But this is our country. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure that it's a country that works for us. And part of that means we have to be properly informed about what is happening. So, my encouragement to you is develop an appetite to want to learn what is going on in this country behind the scenes. Because whether you like it or not, people are making decisions that are going to affect not only your life, but the life of your children. But even even your parents now, as they head into their retirement and to their old age, decisions are being made that would make that retirement very, very difficult for them. This is the time for vigilance. As has always been said, the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. And you and I have to be vigilant. We have to ensure that we are awake, we are alert, and we are calling those in power to order. Thank you for joining me on this show this evening. My name is James WaNjeri. This was Sheria Dive. Thank you for keeping us company. I'll be looking for your comments. I have not seen your comments, but if you had sent a comment and I didn't see it, we are back here on Saturday between 1 to 3 p.m. Same show, good vibes. And remember, we're always looking forward to hear some of your feedback. You know, what are some of the things that you would want us to talk about? What are some of the things that are going on? What are some legal things that you'd want some form of explanation on? Until Saturday, have a lovely week. Watch out, not only for yourself, but also for your neighbor, because we are our brother's keeper. And of course, we're going to actually play Eric Wainaina's Daima Mkenya And this goes out to all the families that lost people. I know the government is saying it as its own numbers, but I assure you guys, we're already at 51 people who have actually died as a result of this protest. Some of them died on the streets. Some of them died in their homes when police went in. Some of them have been abducted and they were found with bullet holes. I think I saw, it was so sad. I saw that one of the people who had been declared missing, and we've been trying to find him. He was found in a dam with bullet wounds. Guys, that sacrifice was not in vain. And this song goes out to you. The rest of us, have a lovely week. Stay alive because Kenya needs you. Let's go.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Umoja ni fahari yetu, undugu ndio nguvu. Chuki na ukabila hatutaki hata kamwe. Lazima tuungane, tuijenge nchi yetu. Pasiwe hata mmoja anayetenganisha. Naishi na tumaini, najitolea daima Kenya. Hakika ya bendera ni uthabiti wangu. Nyeusi ya wananchi na nyekundu ni ya damu. Kijani ni ya ardhi, nyeupe ya amani. Daima mimi Mkenya, mwananchi mzalendo. Kwa uchungu na mateso, kwa vilio na huzuni, tulinyakuliwa uhuru na mashujaa wa zamani. Hawakushtushwa na risasi au kufungwa gerezani. Nia yao ukombozi, kuvunja pingu za ukoloni. Naishi na tumaini, najitolea daima Kenya. Hakika ya bendera ni uthabiti wangu. Nyeusi ya wananchi na nyekundu ni ya damu. Kijani ni ya ardhi, nyeupe ya amani. Daima mimi Mkenya, mwananchi mzalendo. Wajibu wetu ni kuishi kwa upendo, kutoka ziwa mpaka pwani, kaskazini na kusini. majani ni ya ardhi nyeupe ya amani. Daima mimi Mkenya, mwananchi mzalendo.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion, to Zion.
Hii maisha ni safari, tunapita kama moshi, na kabla tuzame mchangani kuna kushinda na kufeli. Oh, inabidi ujijue tofauti ya mwalimu na mwanafunzi ni ujuzi na ujuaji. Oh, it's unbelievable that we make it this far. Undeniable, we see the promised land from afar, and it's so beautiful. No, they can't touch the fire, and you know it's not in vain. Steady tripping through the pain. Oh, man.
Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train.
Oh, Lord.
Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train.
Steady rocking on the midnight
Zion,
on the midnight
Zion.
Zion.
Siku zazidi badilika, mengi yazidi kunipita jama. Oh no, maji yalipozidi unga, hawakudhani tutafika fika. It's unbelievable that we made it this far. Undeniable to see the promised land from afar. So beautiful, they gon' know who we are. They keep on walking in the rain. Kuna blessings in the pain. Whoa.
Steady rocking on the midnight train.
Steady, ready, ready, ready.
Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion, to Zion.
Zion.
It's on our road to Zion. Nothing will ever deny us. Whatever it takes, keep on rocking. Whatever it takes, keep on moving. To Zion, to Zion, to Zion. Yeah, 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 yeah. Rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion, to Zion, to Zion, to Zion. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Steady rocking on the midnight train. Oh Lord, steady rocking on the midnight train. To Zion, to Zion.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.